Hey guys, God bless you. I hope you guys are doing well. I know I haven't really spoken in a while, but I have a quick devotional for you guys in the book of Ruth. So, to summarize it for those of you who haven't read the book of Ruth or haven't heard about Ruth. So, Ruth was a woman whose husband died. Okay, so her father-in-law passed away, as well as her husband and his brother, which was Orpah, her sister-in-law, I guess. Her husband, okay? Her mother-in-law was left a widow. She was left a widow as well as the other daughter-in-law, okay? So, Noemi, which is the mother-in-law, she tells them, my sons are dead, my husband's dead, go back to your land, go back to your home, go back to your father's house and remarry. Remarry, start a life. And Ruth refused. She didn't want to. She stayed with her. She chose to stay with her mother-in-law, and why I am telling you guys this. Why is this important? Okay, God, through these times, we are uncertain. Okay, so I think they just extended the shelter in place again. We could wake up tomorrow and it could be extended again. These times are uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen. We can't be sure. We can't plan out the rest of summer or a vacation or to go back to school, anything these days without the uncertainty that comes with it. Not being sure, being able to be sure that our plans are flexible so that they're not completely bombarded, interrupted, and ruined. Okay? I know a lot of you are facing to miss graduations and ceremonies and how difficult that must be. That is very difficult. And it's hard because you've worked so hard for it and now it was just taken from you. And some of you might be mad. Some of you might be upset. Some of you might be grieving that loss, and maybe you've distanced yourself from God because you thought, I'm Christian. I prayed for this and I asked God to help me and he didn't help me, but he made it worse. He took it away from me completely. But you know what? That wasn't God. God is taking your circumstance, which is what it is, just your circumstance, what's going on around you, and he's using it. So, but you haven't seen it yet, right? You haven't seen a purpose to all of this yet because you're not focused on your faith and you're not focused on God and the good. You're focused on the anxiety, the depression, the fear, the uncertainty, the loss that you've faced. But that's already happened. You've already faced that. Okay? And the enemy has you here. Okay, here's your loss, and he has you here. And he's over you, and he's telling you how terrible it is. You wake up every morning, and the first thing you think of is how awful it is that you're stuck again at home. You can't see your friends. You can't go to school. You can't go play soccer. You can't, your sports are canceled. Your tournaments are canceled. Your wrestling meets are canceled. Everything is canceled. And the enemy still has you here. You found out about that a month ago, and the enemy has you here. In the fear, in the depression, and God's over here working, telling you, no, come back over here and look at what I am doing. Pay attention to me. Read the Bible so that I can speak to you because his voice is not audible, okay? We don't hear him say, hey, Merari, hey, Uzi, hey, Lily, hello. He doesn't call you up on your phone like, hey, are you ready for my plan now? Like, let me tell you what's going on. No, you need to read. You need to pray. You need to listen to these sermons, to these devotionals, in order to hear what he's trying to tell you, in order to understand what he's trying to show you. Ruth, why I want to focus this on Ruth is because Ruth could have gone home. She could have gone to what she knew, based on her life. She knew she had a home. She knew she had a family she could go back to. Did she do it? Did she go back to what she knew, what was familiar? No, she didn't. She looked at her mother-in-law. She was scared. She could have been anxious. She could have been depressed. Her husband just died. She could have been at a loss, like, what am I going to do? It could have been easy to go home, say, all right, I'm out of here. But she didn't. She stayed with her mother-in-law. She faced that uncertainty, not knowing where they were going, what they were going to do, because there is no man in the household. Who works? Who does all these things? The men in the household. The men in the household provide. Okay? And what were they to do? Two women alone. The mother-in-law, she says, I'm too old to find a husband. I'm too old to have another son. Are you going to wait for me to bear another son to marry you? No. She said, no, go home. But is that what Ruth did? No. She said, I'm staying with you. I don't care if it's difficult. We're going to face this together. That is what God's telling you today. Don't look back at what you knew, but face the fear and the uncertainty, because there's a greater plan waiting for you. I encourage you guys to read the book of Ruth. It's difficult for me too, through all this anxiety, through all this fear, that I have faced. I used to pray, God, take me back to what I knew. Take me back to when I didn't have anxiety, to when I was well. But you know what? I realized that God's trying to show me, you know what? You don't want to go back to normal. I'm creating a new normal for you. I am making you better. I am making you stronger. So stop focusing on the fear that the enemy is putting in you and focus on the good that is coming. You just got to get through that fear and the uncertainty in order to get there, to see what I'm working on, to see how I'm changing you. Because you know what? I am a lot better. I am closer to God. I'm a better mom, a better wife, because God has changed me and formed me, and He's continuing to change me and form me. I haven't had anxiety in almost 2 weeks. You know how amazing that is? Because I stopped focusing on what God was doing. I stopped focusing on what the enemy was doing and the fear and the uncertainty and the anxiety. I stopped focusing on that. And I started focusing on maybe God's making me better. And He's telling you, I have a plan for you that is better than your plan, because you're going off of what you knew. You don't see the future. These days are uncertain. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You can't plan for it. But God knows what's happening tomorrow, and He's planning for it, and He is changing you, and He is calling you to read the Bible, to listen, to pray, hear His whisper of what He is creating for you. God bless you guys. I hope you're doing well. Reach out if you need help. All right? Bye.